consistent with Mark. Again, it's on sentencing reform. Matt Williams is my president of the Gavel Club, Extreme Speakers. This is a man who's been fighting a good fight for a long time. He's not going to quit. He's published articles. He has had articles published. He's drafted bills to be proposed in the House of Representatives. He's active. He's not just talking, walking around here stressing about change. He's active in that pursuit. We need to join him. He's going to come up here and he's going to talk. Listen, and let's join him. Let's join Mark. That's why we're here, to understand what's going on. Because they're living a reality that some of us are oblivious to. So we're trying to expose these ugly truths and do something about them. Regardless of what happened, Matt knows there's a reward waiting for him. He's going to continue the race, fighting the good fight, because he's going to get that reward. He's going to get it. Everyone. With Mark's speech titled 999899, welcome up here.
Tonight, I'm going to tell you the significance of this number and how it affects a class of men and women incarcerated in the state of Florida. I would like to thank Toastmasters, the SAGE program, Kairos Ministry, Extreme Solutions, and especially Dr. Manal Fakori, as they have encouraged me in my growth as a leader and my social skills, and of course, our communication skills. They have taught me to encourage other men in blue to be more productive in their lives. Not only while they're incarcerated, but for when the time comes for them to walk out that front gate a free person. Tonight, I'm going to speak about men and women who will never walk out that front gate a free person unless change is made. And these are the men and women with a life sentence. Men and women who have made a mistake in their lives, but because of Florida's statutory sentencing schemes, automatically receive a life sentence. And this, my friends, should not be so. Dr. Martin Luther King once said that all men should be treated equally. And I have a vision that no one in the state of Florida should be serving a life sentence. Now, who am I to be talking about life sentences? Well, I am one who has a life sentence for a felony murder. And I refuse to lay down. I'm going to fight for myself. I'm going to fight for the other men and women who have this sentence. At this point, I would like for each and every man who has a life sentence to please stand up. Thank you. Thank you. Now look at these men very carefully. Look at myself. And pay very close attention to what I have to say. Each man standing here tonight will die in prison unless change is made. Let me repeat myself in case you didn't hear me. Each man standing will die in prison unless change is made. Thank you. You may be seated. And let me clarify something for the record. Mark spoke on parole. Well, there is approximately 4,000 men and women who still remain underneath the parole system, including me. But you ask any one of them what they think of the cruel and barbaric system that has kept them in prison for decades. Ask them what they think their chances are at release, and they'll tell you zero. Now, I propose change. I propose that the life sentences be converted to a term of years. Now, anyone who has served any amount of time has heard this over the years. But I want to make this a reality. Now, I'm not saying for the state of Florida just to create a bill in the legislature or to enter an order of executive clemency and turn loose these men and women. No, that's not what I'm saying. Because I understand that there are men and women who cannot function in society. There are men and women who may pose a threat to our families, to our friends, and to our community. What I'm saying is that a sentencing review should be created. And I believe it can be done at the institutional level by the classification department. I believe the classification department can have the facts of your case, the opinion from the state attorney, that you give mitigating circumstances, that you call witnesses on your behalf. Let them talk to the supervisors, the people that you're around each and every day, and let them come to a conclusion of a term of years for you to serve, with a minimum term of 30 years. Why should I say 30 years? Well, for one reason, I'm fixing to come up on 30 years, so that's a pretty good number. Now, I understand that if you do a crime, you need to be punished. But what I'm saying tonight is, I want to make Florida the leader in restorative justice. You hear this in the newspapers. You read about it in the newspapers. You hear about it on TV. But I believe the resentencing of those guys with life sentences, men and women who deserve a second chance, that this can give them that chance. You may say, well, you don't deserve a second chance. Well, I have one thing to offer in that response. I'm going to quote a famous scripture. He who is without sin, let him cast the first stone. Florida Tax Watch said that it costs double the amount to house someone who is elderly. And they mean someone who is 55 years or older. Now, I'm 55. No, but I don't consider myself elderly. I don't think I look elderly. But what they mean by this is that medical costs, like myself, I have high blood pressure, I have a thyroid problem, and a couple of other different things. Now, this occurs to the Department of Corrections to pay for the cost of my medical expenses each year. The longer that I stay in, the more it's going to rise. This is because of the diet and the stress that I'm under. So, let's create change. Let's convert these life sentences to a term of years. As a final point, I want to explain a little bit about felony murder that Mark mentioned. Felony murder is when a death occurs during the commission of a crime. Now, there does not have to be any intent for a death to occur. It can be accidental, such as the case that I'm involved in here. But when this happens, you are automatically guilty of felony murder and you will receive a life sentence. Now, this is just one example of how Florida freely gives out life sentences. 99989999. It's a terrible sentence. It's a terrible EOS date that you can never make. Growth, maturity, change, remorse for your crime. Doing all that you can do to better yourself. And at the end of each month, you receive a gain time slip that says you've done above satisfactory in your work assignment. You've done above satisfactory in your house assignment. You're doing really good, Matt. But where it shows the end of sentence date or EOS date, it has 99989999. While others are anxious to receive their gain time slips because they can see their date coming closer, but not you. Because month after month, year after year, decade after decade, that same number appears, never changing. My fellow men in blue, you've seen the men that stood up here tonight. Men that you know deserve a second chance. Think about the women who are incarcerated across the state of Florida that have a life sentence. So many of them, mothers, daughters, sisters, who deserve a second chance. Think of the abuse that they go through on a daily basis. I urge you to contact your families. I urge you to contact the legislature. I urge you to contact the government and ask for change. And for all others who hear my voice, let your voice be heard in Tallahassee and ask for this change. Florida has had this cruel and inhumane sentence for far too long. Consider this. If you're facing the death penalty, you're allowed to give mitigating circumstances. You're allowed to call character witnesses on your behalf before you get sentenced. But a death by incarceration sentence, you're not afforded this opportunity. And that, my friends, is a true injustice. With this sentencing review, it will allow you the opportunity to do this. It is my prayer that in the near future, myself and others who have this similar sentence will receive a realistic end of sentence date instead of 999899. Thank you.